Hello everyone, hope you are good and be happy always. Once again, welcome to Shachi's Academy, and today we will discuss the first chapter of Indian economy, that is Indian economy on the eve of independence. You just have to remember one thing. Indian economy on the eve of independence was really very much exploited and the condition was really very bad. And we will discuss these things with the help of two quotes. And this chapter would be discussed with in 2-3 parts because chapter is quite large. And you just have to remember the quotes and you can write the answers very easily. MCQs or the elaborative questions. Okay, so let's start with the topic, that is colonial exploitation. I am using code for colonial exploitation, that is CE, because again and again if you write the same thing, the board will be filled with this colonial exploitation only. Okay, so let's start. Number 1, colonial exploitation of agriculture. Then second is colonial exploitation of industrial sector, and the third one is colonial exploitation of international trade. And for that we have framed a code CAIT. C for colonial exploitation and A for agriculture, I for your industrial sector and T for trade. You can remember this code and thereafter you can discuss all these points very nicely. Okay. Colonial exploitation of agriculture. Agriculture was really exploited by Britishers. The whole of the land that was owned by tillers or the farmers, you can say cultivators, that was given to zamindars, and zamindari system was operative in India. Zamindars were people who controlled a very large chunk of land and gave that land to cultivators, the farmers, to farm on that or cultivate that land. And thereafter when they cultivated that land and produced the farm products, the maximum share was taken away by zamindars. Okay, and they lived a luxurious life. But farmers or cultivators were left with very little share. You can just take an example that if farmers produced some grains and the produce was, say, you can say 80 kg or 800 kg, you can say, and from that you can say 700 kg was taken away by the zamindars. So maximum amount was taken by zamindars and very little amount was left with the farmers or the cultivators. Then no right to farmers. Farmers were not given any right. They were not given any right on land or cultivation or whatever they produced, and maximum share was taken away by the zamindars. So zamindars were the people who controlled everything. Then no investment on land. See, zamindars were not interested in fertility of land or the well-being of farmers. They were not, or the development of farming or cultivation. They were just interested in the share of produce they were getting, because zamindars only had to pay. Zamindars only had to pay a fixed amount of tax. You can say to Britishers maybe 10% of the produce or 20% of the produce, and rest of it was left with zamindars to enjoy with. So zamindars were the people who were really enjoying the system, and zamindar system was really a great deal of exploitation to the farmers. So zamindari system was very exploitative. Then come on to the second topic, that is CE, colonial exploitation of industrial sector. Industries of India were just destroyed by Britishers in a planned manner. They planned the destruction of Indian industries because they wanted to upgrade or they wanted to flourish their own industrial sector, develop their own industries in Britain. So what did they do? They levied heavy export duties to destroy Indian exports. So whenever you need to export to some country, some duties are levied on you. Suppose you are an exporter and you want to export from India, some duties will be levied on you. But during this British rule, our industries were levied very heavy taxes on our exports. Suppose you were an exporter, some exporters were there in India, and 100% or 200% of duties were levied on them. And with this levy, the produce, you can say if the produce cost 200 rupees, and with the levy of 200% of taxation, it will become of 300 rupees. And who will purchase the produce for 300 rupees? No one, because it becomes very expensive after this amount of levy of your tariff duties or export duties. So exporters were discouraged. Our export sector was devastated. It was destroyed in a planned manner, and our industries got destroyed. Okay, in a planned manner. Then duty-free import of British goods. Now, whatever was produced in industries of Britain, it was imported in India, and no taxes or no duties were levied on that. and they were whatever was their cost or the price, you can see, if their price was 100 rupees and they could be sold in India at 100 rupees only. So they were cheaper and Indians used to purchase them. Our exports were destroyed and their imports were encouraged by duty-free imports. So Britishers were they were gaining from imports to India. They were importing their own commodities or own finished products of their industries into India. See, one of the reasons of colonial rule, colonial exploitation was the markets they needed to sell their own industrial produce to other nations. So all the colonies were used as markets for selling of industrial produce to those colonies, okay, and extract profits from them. Then third is colonial exploitation of international trade. Our trade was also destroyed in a planned manner by Britishers because duty-free export of Indian raw material was carried on to Britain. Why? Because here India is very rich in natural and human resources. All the natural resources were extracted from the mines of India. Other gems and jewelry, everything was exported as a raw material to India, and that was duty free. See, our exports were levied with heavy duties so that our industries get destroyed. But our raw material was exported to them because raw material is very cheap, and the industries of Britain got very cheap raw material to produce finished products. And thereafter, what did they do? See, duty free import of British goods. Now, we have studied here also, they imported their industrial produce to India in a duty-free form. No duty was levied on the imports from Britain, and Indians used to purchase the products that were produced in industries of Britain, and in that manner, the industrialists or the producers of Britain were gaining profits from India. India was merely used as a market to sell their produce, industrial produce, and it was exploited with beyond limits. Okay, that third is discriminated trade policy, tariff policy. You can see on your own that our exports were levied with heavy taxes, heavy duties, and we were not allowed to export to other nations also, even to Britain. It was with heavy duties, so our export industry just got destroyed. But they used to import their own goods into India. So this was discriminatory tariff policy. There was partiality in setting up their tariff policies also. So Indian industrial sector was greatly devastated and destroyed. Features of Indian economy on the eve of independence. So here, this was, our code was CAIT. You remember the name of cat? See, CA and T is cat and I is in between. So this is very easy code to remember. That the code for features of Indian economy on the eve of independence is again very easy. You can remember it. Just remember SBI, that is State Bank of India. SBI and A is in between. SBAI, Sabai, Rafale, RPHL, Rafale, and SC. Supreme Court, you can say SC, Sabai, Rafale, SC. This is the code. See, codes help you to memorize the answer very easily. And during exams, if you're not well, if you haven't slept well, or if there is any distraction or disturbance in examination hall, thereafter also you can write those answers very easily. So always frame codes for yourself. Just write those codes at the top of on the page of the book where your question is there, or the answer is there, portion is there, and you'll be able to write those answers very easily. Okay. Then number 1, Sabai, S for stagnant economy. Here, our economy was stagnant. It was not developing. There was no dynamism. There was no demand in the market. There was nothing was selling in the market. Our agriculture was underdeveloped. Our industries were destroyed, and we did not have any hope of industrial production, of industrial development, or agricultural development. So our economy was stagnant economy. Per capita income was not growing. Our GDP was not growing, and everything was at low levels. So during 1860 to 1945, per capita income growth rate was only just merely 0.5%. You can say just 0. Okay. Percent per year, because everything was exported to Britain. That means raw material was exported to Britain, so there was no industry in India. Okay, and we used to consume their produce, and we used to just give our money, hard-earned money, to Britishers to produce, to develop their industries. Okay, so everything was bad for India. That during 1925 to 1950, what was per capita income growth rate? It was nearly 0.1%. It moved towards 0 only. Okay. percent per annum or per year. Okay, so here we can see the growth per capita income rate was very low. Then number 2 is backward economy. The code SB. Remember, always remember B for backward. When I frame codes, I just use the first alphabets, and here we couldn't use the first alphabet CE. That's why I use agriculture, industry and trade. Okay, always remember to frame code. These are very important. B for backward economy. Our economy was greatly backward. Everything was destroyed, so we tend to be backward only. So here during 1947-48, per capita income was merely rupees 230. Then second is high unemployment, poverty, no shelters and no home to people. Infrastructure was greatly underdeveloped. Why? Because Britishers were never interested in developing our economy. They just wanted to loot our economy. They just wanted to carry all the raw material, all the assets we had, and just wanted to destroy our economy, because it was just a colony to them. It was not their motherland. It was not their own you can say land. So they did not care about Indians and not the our economy also. Then high unemployment. All the Indians, you can say, were not having good opportunity of getting employed. So there was very low employment rate, and great many people were unemployed in Indian economy and on the eve of independence. Then poverty was rampant. People were not having food to eat. They could not get meals twice a day. They could not get good amount of food also, and there was hunger and poverty all over in India on the eve of independence, and people were homeless. No shelters for them were available. Okay, then third point is agricultural backwardness. Our agriculture was greatly backward. They did not have any modern amenities. No modern forms of cultivation were there. No mechanization, no irrigation facilities were there. So it was greatly underdeveloped or backward, and that's why even after employing 72% of population of India in agriculture, it could add only 50% of its contribution to GDP. That means 72% of Indian population was engaged in agriculture as farmers, but they contributed only 50% to GDP. That means it was greatly backward, highly backward. Then food grain production was very low. Wheat production, rice production, everything was low. It was not more than 660 per kg per hectare or 710 per hectare for rice. So it was very low. Production was very low. You can see in your book for yourself also. Then fourth point is industrial backwardness. We have already discussed. All the industries were destroyed in a planned manner by Britishers. So they only were interested in developing their own industries. So the Indian industrial sector was greatly backward. Then rampant poverty, we have already discussed. When industries are backward, there is no employment for people of India. Agriculture was devastated by zamindari system. There was no one to take care of their lands. Every produce was their produce was even taken by zamindars, and rest of the exploitation was done by selling British products in India. So our exporters were also destroyed. So what will happen to people of India? They will become poor only. So rampant poverty was there. Rampant hunger was there. That means widespread. People were largely hungry. There were a lot of famines. People were not having 2 meals per day also. Then poor infrastructure. See, Britishers were only interested in building those assets or buildings which were useful to them. Otherwise, there was no development. They built railroad just to export Indian raw material to Britain. And in those areas where there were mines, where there were raw material, the Indian railways were developed. Otherwise, there was no development of infrastructure in India. Then heavy dependence on imports. See, industries of India were destroyed. There were no good industries in India. So everything we wanted or everything we used in our daily life was imported from Britain. Just like machines, you can say, just like all the clothing, you can say, all the utensils and whatever we required, that was finished products, were imported from Britain, and we were highly dependent on Britain for our consumption. Then limited urbanization. Very few cities were developed during British rule, because whatever they wanted, the areas they wanted to develop were developed, and otherwise no cities were developed because our industries were destroyed. So normally the urbanization happens near your industrial sector or industries. So there were no industries, so there was no urbanization also. That no cities were developed or no townships were developed. The semi-feudal economy. Semi-feudal economy is the economy where land is normally controlled by zamindars for getting cultivated and taking away the shares from the farmers. They give it to farmers for cultivation and take away the share and pay some amount of taxation to British people normally. And others, some parts of economy were or some part of agriculture was given to those sectors which were interested in cash crops. You can say the industrial line of production or cash crop is normally cultivated just like rubber plantation, tea cultivation, coffee cultivation. They are normally done to earn cash. That means to earn money only. They are not for subsistence farming or just for food grain only. They want to earn profits from them. So cash crop for capitalist form of farming was also there. So there was two systems that were existence in India, that was zamindari system was there and capitalist mode of cultivation was also there, and that's why Indian economy was semi-feudal in form. The colonial economy. India was a colonial economy, it was colonial to Britain just like other colonies, and that's why it was not developed on the eve of independence. When it gained independence, it was greatly devastated, it was destroyed, it was having very low per capita income, very low growth rate, agriculture was destroyed, industries and trade were also destroyed. So you always need to remember one thing, they were not interested in developing India, they were just interested in building their own economy. So the code for this is Sabai Raffle SC, that is Sabai SBI, you guys remember, SC for Supreme Court, and this is Raffle. Okay, so that's all about this first topic. We take the screenshot over here. This is first part of this chapter. We will be coming soon with our second part also. Thank you so much. Take care and God bless you.